Good morning. Welcome back to English time. How are you doing? Yes, you are all doing well. And as you know, we are going to complete our lesson. Before going to the lesson, let me ask you one question. Where do we stop? Yes, we discussed about single stories. So I told you at the beginning itself that single story means it is a particular term used by Adichie to explain a particular condition or a situation. She explained it very well by explaining some incidents from her own life. Through that, you must have got an idea about what is a single story and what is the danger of single story. So it is very important. So what was the single story about Fide's family? Tell me. Yes. She was given an idea about Fide and his family, that they were very poor, and also they were expected that they couldn't do anything. But when he visited that village and saw that beautiful basket made by her family members, made by Fide's family members, who was, yes, our Adichie was surprised. She never expected such a thing from whom, yes, create such a creativity from, yes, Fide's family. So that was a single story. And what was the danger of the single story? Yes, why? Because our Adichie, who underestimated that skills of Fide and his family members and that particular people who lived in that village. That is what the danger. Why? Because if she talks about Fide and his family, if she talks about yes, Fide and his family, you know, she may say, this is what the condition of Fide's family, they are very poor, we cannot expect anything from them, and like that. So it will be a problem. That is not correct. Then we know the single story about story writing. Yes, what was the single story? What was the single story about story writing? That Adichie thought a story should contain yes, foreign characters and the conditions which is explained in that story should be of, yes, European climate. And what was the danger of that? Yes, whenever she started to write stories, the same situations or weather conditions and the same characters were there as characters and the situations in that stories. Which means she couldn't create the real life in her stories, and also she did not personally yes, identify or experience that particular situation. Why? Because such a climatic conditions or such people were not there in her own country. So that is what the danger of that. Then today we are going to discuss about another single story. What is that? Years later, I thought about this when I left Nigeria to go to university in the United States. Years later, she thought about this when she left Nigeria to go to her university in the United States. It's America. For her studies, Adichie, she went to America. I was 19. What was her age at that time? She was 19-year-old. My American roommate was shocked by me. And you know, America is a foreign country for her, so she got a hostel room there, and she wanted to share her room with a American girl. And when that American girl saw Adichie, who was from Nigeria, she was shocked. She was wondered why, why was she shocked? Why was that roommate of Adichie shocked? She asked where I had learned to speak English so well, and was confused when I said that Nigeria happened to have English as its official language. When that roommate, American roommate, started to talk with Adichie, she understood, or that American girl or the roommate understood she could speak in, Adichie could speak in English. She wondered, how did she come to speak in English? Nigeria, Nigerian language is there. That is not the English is not the language of Nigerians. English is actually the official languages of England and America. Then during colonial period, Britishers, they controlled, ruled, colonized many countries in this world. In that journey, they visited or they conquered Nigeria also. Nigeria was also under the control of these white people or Britishers. So after becoming free from Britishers, these Nigerians accepted English as their official language. Then actually the roommate did not know about this all. Then when she heard English, what type of English? Adichie was speaking English so well. She was shocked. Then she asked if she could listen to what she called my tribal music. Then the roommate asked whether she can hear or can you sing a song in your own tribal language. Who asked? The roommate asked whom? Adichie. Can you sing a song? Which song? A tribal song for me. That was the question of whom? The roommate. Then and was consequently very disappointed when I reproduced my type of Mariah Carey. Then that American roommate asked her to sing a tribal song, but she sang the song of whom? Mariah Carey. Who was Mariah Carey? A famous pop singer. And Nigeria, a girl from Nigeria singing a popular, who's very popular pop singers song who sung by Mariah Carey, and that was also astonished or wondered whom. After hearing this, who was also wondered? American roommate wondered. Why? Because she thought Adichie could sing only tribal songs. So here also we can see one thing. What is that? She had felt sorry for me even before she saw me. What happened then? No? She had felt sorry for me. Who had felt? American roommate had felt sorry for whom? Adichie. Even before she saw me. What? She felt sorry, means that American roommate came to know that she was going to share her room with a Nigerian girl, and who that American roommate was very sorry. How could I how can I marry, how can I adjust with that Nigerian girl? How can I talk with that Nigerian girl, and how can she share her ideas and her her all with this roommate? That was the problem of whom? Yes, that American roommate. And she was very sorry. Oh, very poor girl, she will be very poor girl, she is from Nigeria. Like that she thought, before seeing whom? Before seeing Adichie. Her default position towards me as an African was a kind of patronizing, well-meaning pity. Yes, what? Her default position towards me. Default position means what? Her kindness or her what? Pity, we can say. Her pity towards me, whose American roommates pity, felt pity towards whom? That Adichie. That what was the reason for that pity? Yes, Adichie was from Africa. As an African, was a kind of patronizing. That pity was a kind of what? Patronizing. That is what that word used here. What is meant by patronizing? In a way that seems friendly. This American roommate was not ready to feel it would be a big problem. She thought that she would give more consideration to this Nigerian girl. Why? Why? Because she is from Africa. She will not be able to speak in English, and she will, if she wants to sing, she will sing tribal song. And so what? She couldn't compare, that American room couldn't compare whom? Yes, that Adichie with herself. Superiority complex was there. So I will consider her as a friend, even though she cannot speak English, or doesn't know this English or culture of England or people in America. She was ready to adjust. But well-meaning pity. Yes, patronizing means, I told you, it was what was there in her mind, American roommate's mind? Yes, pity. My roommate had a single story of Africa. So what is the point in this story or this explanation? Yes, a single story was there in the mind of whom? Yes, that American roommate. A single story about Africa. African people will be like this. African people cannot speak in English. They can sing and enjoy only what? Yes, African tribal songs, and etc., etc., etc. And also what? By analyzing this all, there was a pity in the mind of whom? Americans, about whom? Africans. And that was the single story about whom? Africans. In this single story, there was no possibility of Africans being similar to her in any way. No possibility of feeling more complex than pity. No possibility of a connection as human equals. And what is the, can you say, what is the danger of that single story of Africans in the mind of whom? These Americans or people who live in other continents? Why? What was the result? There was no possibility in the mind of whom? These Americans or people who felt pity on Africans, like whom? Our American roommate. They never thought that there was a possibility of for comparing these Africans and Americans. There's no possibility. And also what? And also they couldn't feel anything or anything, but they felt only pity on them, because there is no comparison at all. And also no possibility of a connection as human equals. And also these foreigners who were having this single story about these Africans, they were not able to consider these Africans as human equals with them. Just you think about that danger of that single story. So this is what the single story in that American roommate. They were not ready to consider these Africans as their yes, human equals. Means we are one. Such a thinking was not there. It was only because of that single story. But after getting an idea, a clear idea, after getting a real experience, who this American roommate changed. She accepted whose friendship? Yes, Adichi's friendship. Okay, that was that problem in that mind in whom that American roommate was disappeared. So that single story, she understood that single story about Africa was not correct or incorrect. Okay, so such a single story will be there in most of the people at that time. That is what here saying. Okay. I must say that before I went to the US, I didn't consciously identify as African. I must say that before I went to the US, I didn't consciously identify as African. Actually, Adichi also never thought that she was an African. But in the US, whenever Africa came up, people turned to me. Then when she reached in America, whenever Africa came up in their subject, in their teaching, in their discussion, all of them looked at whom? Yes, Adichi. I did come to embrace this new identity, and in many ways I think of myself now as African, although I still get quite irritable when Africa is referred to as a country. Then she says what now? Yes, I did come. I did come means I came to embrace, accept this new identity. Every time, whenever they discussed about whom, yes, Africans, all of them turned. The students in that college, all of them turned towards whom? Yes, Adichi. So it became familiar to whom? Yes, Adichi. And she accepted that new identity. And in many ways, I think of myself now as African. Then because of that, at first she never thought that she was an African, but after she accepted that particular thinking in the mind of whom others in that college. And also, but although I still get quite irritable. Irritable means what? She felt what? Pain, or she was very worried, that we can say. She worried. Irritable means worried. She worried when Africa is referred to as a country. Yes, these Euro-Americans, they referred these or used this term Africa to refer what? A particular country. Yes, Africa means what? Not a country. It is a continent. It is a continent. But Americans, they, or these foreigners, they understood Africa as a continent. Okay, she was from Nigeria, but all of who are coming from where? Yes, these African countries, these foreigners thought they were all Africans, which means Africa means only one country. When she heard this type of a referring, she was worried. Okay, so after I had spent some years in the US as an African, I began to understand my roommate's response to me. After I had spent some years in USA as an African, I began to understand my roommate's response to me. She understood what was that response. What if I had not grown up in Nigeria, and if all I knew about Africa were from popular images? I too would think that Africa was a place of beautiful landscapes, beautiful animals, and incomprehensible people, unable to speak for themselves and waiting to be saved by a kind white foreigner. I would see Africans in the same way that I, as a child, had seen Fide's family. So we can conclude that particular single story's result or danger by saying this word. If I had not grown up in Nigeria, suppose Adichie had not grown up in Nigeria. She was also from America. I too would think that Africa was a place of beautiful landscapes. That is what. And if all I knew about Africa were from popular images, suppose Adichie, who was born in America or any other country, not in Nigeria or not in African countries, then she says what now? I too would have believed that Africa was a country or a place of beautiful landscapes. Beautiful landscapes, beautiful pictures of Africa can be seen in books and magazines, newspapers and all. Beautiful animals also can be seen when we think about what Africa, that image of animals will come to our mind. And incomprehensible people who do not or who cannot understand. Comprehensible means they can understand. Incomprehensible means cannot understand. What people unable to speak for themselves. They don't know to speak for themselves. Means whatever they have, whatever the rights they have, they were not ready. They were unable to speak. As you know, these Africans were transported to where we can say that we can use that particular term, transported, not as human beings. They were transported as animals, and they were the slaves of Africans and the European countries. So such an image was there in the minds of people who learned about Africa. So that's why saying what people in Africa are incomprehensible to speak about themselves, and waiting to be saved by kind, and such people, they were not able to speak for themselves, because they don't know, they were but only people who were living in such a black continent. No knowledge, no education, nothing. And they were waiting for whom? No, they were waiting to be saved by a kind and white foreigner. Such a picture was taught by whom? White people in European and American continents. Black people or Africans are like that. They were waiting for foreigners to come and save them. And I would see Africans in the same way that I, as a child, had seen Fide's family. Then if she was born in any other country, she must have thought Africans as same like this. Same like whom had seen, yes, that roommate had seen. Why? Because such a picture was there in the public domain about whom? Yes, Africans. The same feeling of that American roommate can be compared with yes, whose feeling, yes, Adichie's female or Adichie's thought when she heard about Fide's family, and she felt pity on Fide's family, and she thought they were very poor. The same idea was given to whom? Yes, that roommate, American roommate. So that is what the danger of single story in this particular circumstance. Have you got it? Okay, so today this is enough. I'm going to wind up. So here today your main homework is to write different single stories explained by, yes, Adichie. Okay, from first onwards you can analyze it and you can write in your own words about the single stories, first single story, second single story, third story, like that. Okay, have you got it? And also you can attend the side question answers. Okay, thank you.